Hey, it's Patti Scharf, CPA and co-founder of Catching Clouds, a leader in e-commerce accounting. And I'm going to interrupt my series on solutions for e-commerce sellers because last week, QuickBooks Connect happened in San Jose. Now, I didn't go, but I heard a lot of people talking about it, leading up to it, talking about it during it, talking about after it. And there was an e-commerce session that I want to talk about. Just because, I know the guy who ran it, super smart guy. If you aren't familiar with Seth David, he is an icon in the QuickBooks world. He's also, I'd call him, he's not old enough to be a grandfather, but he's kind of the grandfather of YouTube accounting videos. So I want to give props to him. He ran the show. But some of the advice he gave about Amazon accounting makes me a little bit nervous. So I wanted to add some context around it for everybody. I think that he's on the right track with his method, but I think that you can do things a better way. So I want to talk about spreadsheets versus A2X specifically, and go through kind of the pros and cons of them, just so that everybody has kind of a bigger picture of what it is that people might be trying to solve, what problems they might run into, and stuff like that. So let's get started. All right, so hopefully we can all agree that pretty much anything is going to be better than entering in transactions one by one, because that just sucks, especially for e-commerce, because e-commerce, there can be hundreds or thousands or tens of thousands or even millions of transactions a month. And you don't want to, I mean, sometimes it's physically impossible to enter in every transaction one by one. So I think that Seth is on the right track as far as getting a spreadsheet to kind of automate some of those processes, to be able to gather the information so that you can make sense out of it for use in your books. Okay, so if you aren't familiar with it, basically what he's kind of advising is you your up all of the different SKUs, which is stock keeping units. You gather up your list of products. You gather up all your payment processors and shopping carts and things like that into an Excel spreadsheet. And you have some good formulas that will look things up and give you good information. And when I say he's on the right track, I mean, this is actually the way Scott and I started this when we started Catching Clouds, and we had our first e-commerce client in 2012, 2013. This is how we basically did everything, was we were gathering information and making sure that everything was tying to what landed in the bank. My concern from some of the emails and things that I've seen come from him is that he's saying, do not pay any attention to any apps. They're just trying to sell you something and they don't know what they're talking about, because this is the way to do it. And I'm not convinced that there's necessarily one way to do it in every single situation. And I think maybe the way that he's talking about is going to be better for somebody who is specifically on a really, really tight budget and somebody who has a lot of extra time. I also want to specifically talk about Amazon, because Amazon is the one shopping cart or marketplace really that has a tool that will help you in this way. I think if you're looking at something like WooCommerce, Shopify, BigCommerce, there aren't really any good solutions at the moment that's going to get you where you want to go. So maybe his spreadsheet is better. But when it comes to Amazon, there is a hands down winner for both Xero and QuickBooks Online. And so I want to compare his use of the spreadsheets with A2X. All right. I have no financial interest in the spreadsheet that Seth is selling. I also have no financial interest in A2X. I'm not part of their affiliate program, or I get no kickbacks on that. So all of this is just based on my own personal experience and expertise in this area. All right, right off the bat, cost. I think you can understand that the cost is going to obviously be better with the spreadsheet scenario, because nothing really beats free. I do believe that Seth is charging for the template. So if you don't want to create it yourself, I think it's a nominal amount, like maybe $25 or something like that, that you can pay to basically get what he's been working with, and you can use it. Yay for you. That's, I think, a good investment, so that you don't have to recreate the wheel yourself. All right. A2X is currently $19 a month for the starter setup, which is, I think, 200 transactions a month. It goes all the way up to $4,999 per month for 1,000,000 transactions. So obviously that's quite a disparity, free or $5,000 a month. But I will tell you that they wouldn't have this product where people are actually paying for it if it did not help in some regards. So I want to talk about some of the features of it. All right, so let's talk about scalability. A2X, just so you have a basic understanding of how it works, it will take all of the sales and stuff from Amazon and all the related fees and everything else, and it'll take a look at your last settlement statement. So the last batch of transactions. If you had a batch that spanned over August and September, for example, it'll take just the August sales and put that in August, just the September sales, put that in September, but it'll put it in a summary format so that it doesn't matter how many SKUs you have, it doesn't matter how many transactions you have, it's all just nice and pretty and posted accurately, okay? With the spreadsheet, if you have 20,000 products, different SKUs, and you're importing all of that into QuickBooks Online, you are running the risk of crushing the system. If you have 1,000,000 orders and you're trying to use Excel, it's going to totally break down on you, and you can't get that into the system, even if you're doing it in a summary view, because Excel's just going to kind of fold under you. So really, A2X totally scales. We use it with $40 million companies, but with the spreadsheet method, you're kind of running a risk that it's going to break as you grow. So you need to keep that in mind. All right, now efficiency and ease of use. I know that I've seen in emails and things from Seth that if you're using his system properly, that it is more accurate than you can get out of another system, and it's super efficient. I heard that during his session, he talked about how he took the system from 6 hours down to an hour, and everybody applauded, and that's great. But with A2X, it is literally like you set it up. It takes 15 minutes to set it up, and then it's one click every time the information comes in. Like 1 hour, one click, and I really worry about somebody who's using spreadsheets because everybody's human, and if you make a mistake or you copy something wrong or you make there's some kind of error or something, then you have to go fix that and find your problems and whatever. It takes more time than I think he's really allowing for. Whereas if it's A2X and there's a problem, you just escalate it to support and they figure out the problem. And then when it's fixed, click. Like, it's really not even a contest. A2X is going to win every single time because it was actually created to solve this exact problem. All right, so let's talk about accuracy. I know for Seth, it's a really huge deal to be able to audit all of the transactions and have confidence that everything is being posted properly in the system. And he says that with his spreadsheet, he can make sure that he can validate that and get it in there. Here is a bonus tip for you. Whenever you are testing out a new piece of software, a new tool, a new app, you need to have that level of confidence. You need to make sure that things are being pulled over correctly and getting posted correctly and things like that. And then once you have that level of confidence, you should be able to use the app. With A2X, we've been using it for more than 4 years. And the thing with A2X is that when it comes into the system, it will always reconcile to the penny of what gets deposited from Amazon. So there's nowhere else that the information could be hiding. If it totals in sum, then you can have confidence that it's working. And if it doesn't total properly, then you can raise a support ticket to A2X, and that has almost never happened to us. So I understand the concern, and I think it's noble that you make sure that you can rely on the apps that you're using, but I don't think that means that you should do it this more complex, difficult manual way forevermore. I think that you should rely on an app that specializes in getting it right. And the other problem is, let's say you want to actually build a business. Let's say you're an accountant and you want this to be your life's work. You want to specialize in e-commerce accounting, and you're doing this for all of your different clients. If you want your business to grow so that you're not always the one doing it, let's say you're a rock star at Spreadsheets, you love them, but you have other higher level work you want to do and you want to train somebody else how to do the spreadsheets, you need to rely on them and their skill and expertise with Excel to make sure that they get it right. Whereas with A2X, if it's just a click of a button, it's so much easier to train them on than to train somebody else on all the minute steps for an hour-long process to get the information into your system. The other thing I want to take a look at is cash versus accrual. When you are posting the income, it's not enough to post it on the date of the settlement statement. That date may include transactions from August and September, like I talked about before. If you post all of those in September, you're posting August sales in September when they actually belong in August. A2X splits this up beautifully and accurately every time. If you're using the spreadsheet that I saw Seth had, it's posting on that September date for all the past stuff. Now, I know in a follow-up email, he said that he has figured out an answer for being able to break that up. I don't know what his answer is, but hopefully he got that figured out. But that was something that really concerned me when I saw his method for posting income in his YouTube video. One of the last hot button issues for Seth is that you cannot get all the detailed information from A2X based on, like, you can't get the sales by SKU number or anything like that, so that he can't run a sales by item summary in QuickBooks Online. So I totally understand his concern and frustration. And honestly, this is how I looked at it when I first was doing e-commerce also. I wanted that pretty report out of QuickBooks Online that says, here is the sales number, here's the cost of goods sold, and here is the profit by unit. But like I talked about before, this isn't a scalable method to be posting everything unit by unit because it'll eventually crush your system. So then I started asking myself, do I really need a sales by item report? Like, is there another way to get that information without having it run through QuickBooks Online? And the answer is, yeah, there are lots of other ways to do it. It does not need to run through your accounting system. And honestly, it probably shouldn't run through your accounting system. The ideal place to have it run through is through a cloud inventory system. Now, I realize that having a separate cloud inventory system is yet another app that you need to pay for, so I think it really kind of depends on the individual situation. There are other methods without having to get a full-blown cloud inventory system. You can use something else like Manage by Stats, Hello Profit, Fetcher, Inventory Lab. You can import costs into there. You can get some pretty charts and graphs and analytics and things like that with pretty accurate information that's going to be way better than your sales by item report out of QuickBooks Online. So let me tell you a few other things that A2X is going to do for you that is going above and beyond what you're going to get from the spreadsheet, okay? Number one is if you have a list of all the costs for all of your different SKUs, you can upload those into A2X, and A2X will be able to calculate the cost of goods sold, totally lining up with the sales that were made, and push that information into QuickBooks Online. So you're getting both cost of goods sold and income information posted. You can also get an inventory report out of A2X that's going to include a breakdown between sellable and unsellable inventory, which is information that you're not going to be able to get from a static spreadsheet. It's also going to give you a breakdown of where your inventory is, like country by country, at the end of each month. They also have another report that is an inbound inventory report. So if you are sending your inventory or your client is sending their inventory into Amazon, but it hasn't made it to the warehouse yet, usually people have laid out money for that inventory, and you need to know that it exists, even if it hasn't been logged in at Amazon yet. And then the last report that I think is really cool out of A2X is a Nexus inventory report. I think this is only on like the $59 a month and up plan, but you can find out. So here's what happens. Product goes into Amazon. Amazon is taking care of the fulfillment and everything. So they're sending product, your product, to all these different warehouses that's closest to your potential customers. So everywhere they're sending their products is creating physical nexus for you, because your products are showing up in all these different states. And you can get this Nexus inventory report that is telling you not only when you first had products showing up in a particular state. So if it like showed up in California for the first time, you want to know that because you want to know that your products are there. And it will also tell you when it was there for the first time. So if you want to pay attention to all the sales tax rules that are really important for e-commerce sellers, this report is vital to anybody who is selling through Amazon. So I mean, I like spreadsheets as much as the next guy, but I don't want to spend an hour for each of my clients. Let's say I have 50 clients. That's 50 hours a week that I'm spending manipulating income data to get it into my accounting software. Like, that's not how I want to be spending my time. I would rather just click and reconcile them through 50 times than to spend 50 hours on that sort of thing. So I think that it's worth taking a step back, looking at what it is you're trying to accomplish, and then seeing the best way to get there. The answer may be Seth's spreadsheet. The answer is almost always A2X, or there may be another method that you come up with. But I think it's worth questioning how you're doing things, why you're doing them the way you're doing it, and seeing if there's a better way. I also want to let you know that we have like a recorded webinar, Essential Tools for Amazon Sellers. I'll put the link down below so that you can check that out if you're interested. I will tell you that if you're planning on specializing in e-commerce accounting, I don't know any e-commerce accountants who use a spreadsheet for Amazon. Every single one uses A2X, and that is not an accident. It's really the best bang for your buck. And I think especially if you are an e-commerce seller, if you're an Amazon seller doing it yourself, you would so much rather deal with A2X than deal with a spreadsheet. Whether you're interested in Seth David's spreadsheet, that link's down below, or A2X, that's down below too. Like I said, I don't have any affiliate links on anything. This is just my personal opinion. I hope this video helped you. If it did, please like, comment, and share. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I'll catch you later.